Good evening, everybody. Because we're in this fine Centre for the Arts, I thought we might kick off with a bit of audience participation. Don't worry, I'm not going to ask anybody to dance tonight. But I just thought you might just join in with shouting out what the slide tells you to shout out. Top of your voice, uninhibited. Just let it rip. Whatever you see, say it. Say the colour, not the word.
Green.
You're getting the hang of it by the end. Do you want to try it again? No. It's not easy though, is it? It's not easy. Because what was going on, the neuroscientists tell us, is that there was a clash going on inside everybody's head at that point. Because one side of the brain was wanting to say one thing, the other side was wanting to say something else. The left side of the brain was wanting to say the word, the right side of the brain was wanting to say the colour. Because this is what some people say is going on in that little cranium of ours. Maybe not quite so extreme as that, but people do claim that it is the left side of our brain that in effect has created much of the industrial, urbanised civilization that we're now in. But not enough consideration is being given to the capacity of the right side of our brain to contribute to the urban civilization that we're now trying to create. And it's Daniel Pink who's argued about this, that we are in effect moving from a left brain world to a right brain world. Because what's happening is that the kinds of activities that have made us in Western society advance in terms of technology and industry, all of those analytical attributes are all now easy to automate, easy to replicate, and are being outsourced and can be done much cheaper in other parts of the world. And it's the right brain activities, the contextual things, the synthetic, the ability that we have to bring together facts and moods and feelings that is going to have an increasing impact, not just on the way artists think and feel, but the way our modern society is going to be operating. Someone who's got a similar theme to this is the American John Cow, and he says that we've moved mankind through several ages of agriculture, of industry. We're moving through this left brain age of information, but we're moving into an age of creativity. And Cow says this is an age of creativity because companies, organisations in public and private sector now have to reinvent themselves. You can't stand still any longer. To stand still, to fall behind. We all have to constantly reinvent ourselves. This is the age of creativity because you, I, all of us, we're not a number, are we? To quote Patrick McGowan. We're all individual people, thinking, creative people, and we expect to be treated in that way, don't we? In the organisations that we work in. This is the age of creativity because design now imbues everything around us. The products, the services, the experiences that we devote our life to, that we use. The value, the intrinsic value, is not in what they're made of. It is in the design that's been put into them. This is the age of creativity because it doesn't matter how good you were yesterday, it doesn't even matter how good you are today. The only question the public have got, whether they're consumers, whether they're the electorate, is what are you going to do for me tomorrow? Only creativity has the answer to that question. Our cities now face a twin challenge. Cities like Derby, cornerstones of British industry, now know that they face an enormous challenge from outside, from the east in particular. But cities face a dual challenge They face a challenge from the inside, from us in all our whinging, whining, demanding, individualistic, me demanding selves. We want the city to reflect us in all of our diversity. And so we're going to look at 3 goals for a modern city today. There are many others, but I'm just going to concentrate on 3. Being attractive, first of all. Secondly, the need for cities to be innovators in urban life. And thirdly, develop the creative economy. Let me look at this horrible word, attractivity, but what do I mean by that? Well, cities are in this global business now of almost sticking a net in the air. It's a bit like trying to catch butterflies, catch this mobile capital which is moving invisibly around the world. And every city is in the business of trying to capture a piece of that action, to capture jobs and businesses too. But even more than that, it's about capturing talent. And also, something that perhaps is forgotten, we need to capture and attract imagination, just in the way that a place like Bilbao or Sydney has a little piece hardwired into our brain. And if I showed you a picture of the Guggenheim or of the Opera House, I wouldn't have to say that's the Sydney Opera House. You'd know, because Sydney has in a way colonised your imagination in that way. And smaller places have to try and do that too. And so the conventional economics now tells us that these are the rules of the new game in which cities are competing. And certainly this is the business that London, New York, Tokyo, Hong Kong are in. But there's another factor, and it's talent. Talent is crucial these days. But talent's different from these other things because it's mobile and it's choosy. And talent will go where talent chooses to go. And as Pink has said, as we're now liberated from many of the needs of our forebears, we're involved in something else, a search to create meaning in our lives. And this is where these right brain activities are going to start to become more important than our left brain facilities. And so, silly question, but just think about it for 10 seconds. If I'm, as I'm arguing, we've created left brain cities to live in, what are right brain cities going to look like? Because that's what we're going to need in the future.
Curvy.
Someone who said a lot about this, and you've probably, most of you, come across this guy, Richard Florida, read his books, maybe even been to one of his lectures. He's made a handsome amount of money from describing the rise of the creative class in American and European cities. What he's argued is that in the past, when we were all company men and women, we gave our loyalty to the company, to Rolls-Royce or whoever, and we saw our future rising in that career ladder, and our families were all locked into that career progression, and we gave our loyalty to the company, to the organisation. And Florida is saying that's not the case now, but people are still looking to give their loyalty to something, and he's saying increasingly it's going to be place. It's going to be towns and cities and communities that people want to give something to. Places are going to be magnets, magnets of talent. And as we know, magnets have a positive and a negative. And talent magnets can either attract or repel talent. And based on his study of 50 cities in America, he's tried to look at what's the difference between the places that are not doing well and the ones that are.